A good game. I'm sure it was a fun game to watch. Obviously, had let's see, 190 offensive plays, 104 for them, 86 for us. A lot of plays. Everybody got their money's worth. So we were. You had special teams, return yards, and penalty yards advantage. We were plus just under 60, so a little more than half a field. And then we were +1 in the turnover margin. That's really the big difference. Third downs, 8 of 18. They were 8 of 22. We were 1 of 1 on fourth. They were 4 of 7 on fourth. So, as I mentioned on Monday, this would be a challenge for us because we haven't played a team that plays as up-tempo as this. So we were learning on the run. We had quite a few new guys that had to play defensively. Had a few guys get beat up and such, so we had to play some other guys defensively, and they did a good job picking it up. Thought our defensive coaches made some really good adjustments at halftime. I think we held them to 7 in the second half, and we scored 21. We didn't rush the ball as well as we need to rush the ball, but we did at the end of the game. Interestingly enough, that the last drive, when they knew we were going to run it, we rushed the ball better than we did the other 3 quarters, in my opinion. So it's a great win for us. I think there's a tremendous amount of parity in this league. I think you're going to see games like this every week. It's what I told the team weeks ago, weekly, every other day, and told them again today. So conditioning is going to play a big factor in this. I thought we were in really good shape. At the end of the game, we had gas in the tank. We could roll and gave us a chance to finish the game off. So we can enjoy this one tonight. Then tomorrow we got to get back to work. We got to travel on the road and play, obviously, a team that's playing really good football. So looking forward to that, looking forward to a good week of work.
The injuries that you had on defense in the first half, how much of that was, how big of a factor was that?
What's that?
You had a few guys get hurt on defense.
Yeah, we had quite a few guys, I think, went out on defense, so we had young guys had to play. We were pretty young and immature out there defensively, but they rallied around and made some plays. They hit us on a couple deep balls, but really cover's pretty good. Their kids went up and made plays. They did a good job of covering us today also.
Spencer obviously didn't throw it as well as he normally does, but he scores that keeper touchdown there from the 2. Really a sort of a tough run for him. And that kind of seemed to swing some things. Did you sense your guys in that moment maybe sort of deciding, hey, we're going to get the momentum here and go with it?
That was a big play. 2 biggest plays, there's a lot of big plays, so it's really unfair to say that. Where that and the targeting really kind of changed the flow of the game. And we were pretty average protecting him. I'll have to go back and look and see, but I didn't think we did a good job protecting him. And, I've said it a number of times. Maybe we did. I just couldn't see it, but I didn't get that feel. So that could play a role in some of that. But he's been around a long time. He's competitive, made a play there at the end. Made a good play converting the third down at the end. So that's the advantage of having a mature quarterback.
Toughness and the sort of the grit out of your entire bunch today?
Yeah, I did. They fortunately we've got enough veteran guys that get it. I think we're in really good condition. As I said earlier, they had some gas in the tank, and we've been in these battles before, and in the end there wasn't any panic. Guys had a clear mind. They were able to listen and absorb information. There was no panic, and in that situation gives you the best chance.
The halftime adjustments on your defensive side. Tech scores first possession of the third quarter, and they don't score after that. Was there anything in particular that really stood out to you?
Well, we made a few adjustments, and it was interesting. The adjustments we made didn't fit that first drive, so I thought, well, that's great. They adjusted on our adjusting, and he's doing a good job of coaching them. They're well coached. They've done a nice job there, but it's hard to explain, but the things that we made adjustments on is not what they did on that drive. And then after that, they kind of went back to what they're good at, and then the adjustments we had worked. On all the short yardage, quick stuff, we were in attack mode, very aggressive on the perimeter. they got us in the first quarter a lot on the perimeter. And so we made those adjustments, and it worked for us, and some key stops on fourth down. The last drive we scored on, I think they gave us the ball in like 42 or 3 or something like that. I'm not for sure. And so that was a key stop, and allowed us to go down the field, use the clock, and score.
Quarterback change by them at all a surprise to you guys?
The quarterback that they played, he's a good player. Good player. What year is he? That's not good. He's a good player. So
For him to come out and
No.
start?
no, he slings it around pretty good. I had heard that. I heard this summer that they had a kid that could throw it around, sling it pretty good, and obviously that's who it was. Good player.
You mentioned the roughing the passer call earlier. What did you kind of think of that play, or the targeting call?
His targeting. A tough game, but the rules, the way the rules set up, that was targeting. So you cannot lower your head, and they know it. And he's young. We talked about it. Friday. We talked about it this morning, before we came over. Those are things I remind him on all the time. But in the heat of the moment, all he knows is he had a dead shot at the quarterback in the end zone, and you cannot lower your head. You have to keep your eyes up all the time. So the rules put in place to protect, and it's a good rule. Nobody likes the rule because people think it's football. Football's football until that's your kid that's getting hit. But it was a correct call, and he needs to learn. He keeps his face up. Keeps his face up and goes through the ribs. It's all good.
What does that mean to not have him for a half? I mean, I know he's not starting necessarily, but he's playing a lot for you right now.
Yeah, he plays a lot of different areas. You hate to lose. I don't really particularly like that. To me, if guy goes out in the third quarter like that, one game's enough. So now he misses 3.5 quarters. But I don't make the rules. It's fair for everybody. But that carryover, I have never liked that. But we know going in where it's at. So it's a quick, it's an easy solution. Keep your head up, keep your eyes up. Can't lower your head.
Mike, you mentioned.
Go ahead, Jenny.
You mentioned protection, Spencer. You lost your center. I'm wondering if you know how Preston is, and then how do you think Joe fared out there?
I thought Joe did okay. A couple snaps were up there a little bit. I thought he did okay. I know that it's not a significant injury. So, he's walking around, but he couldn't really push off. Hopefully he'll be better in 3 days.
I think of Jaden Bray. Seemed like maybe just the timing was off on a few throws.
Oh, we overthrew him a couple times. He looked good out there. He looks good in his uniform. He's 16 pounds heavier. I asked him on Friday than he was. He didn't handle press man very well. He hadn't been in it in a while. He'll handle it better. They were able to cover him up pretty good on it. And then there was a couple balls that Spencer backs it off maybe a yard. He can go up and get it. But he'll be fine. Tough deal for him, right? Comes right out and playing in conference play and trying to beat man coverage, so on and so forth. But he'll be fine.
Especially with the height difference between Texas Tech receivers and Jabbar, how do you think that he played in coverage?
He did good. He competed. And that's difficult. It's hard, I mean, the length is like a boxer. But he competes, stays in there. And, those guys, 104 plays, that's a lot. And he was in there a bunch and fought hard, made good plays.
Fair catch on the onside attempt they had earlier. Is that something you guys have worked on? What's kind of strategy there? I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, so as soon as they kick it, if you show fair catch, they can't catch it.
You guys work on them?
Yep. Pretty smart, huh? So, if I'm here and they're flopping it over here and I'm running like this and I do this, they cannot catch the ball. So, we've practiced it and talked about it, and we were fortunate enough we had a guy that plays a ton of special teams for a long time, and he's mature and he made a good play.
Mike, what about Bryson Green? Looks like he's an evolving big target for Spencer in the past.
He's coming along, made some catches, made a big one there in the last drive, right? I think that was him in the middle of the field. And he's maturing. You know, he didn't play much last year. Significant snaps, big games, tired, physical team. So he's coming along, learning to use his body. He's got a ways to go, but made some plays.
What, Coach? Coach, on that note, I was just gonna ask, Coach. On that note, I was just gonna ask. What is the status of Braden Johnson?
He's fine. You know, I don't know for sure what happened to him. I don't know. Until you brought it up, he didn't play much in the second half, right?
Not at
Yeah.
all.
I'm not sure what happened. I need to check on that. I don't know. That's a good point.
With Braden Johnson out, with the run game not up to your 4 yards a carry like you kind of like it, maybe with Spencer not throwing the ball as well as he has been, what about your offense made it working so well to put up 41 points still? Like, what's the main positive?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. We made some plays at times to start the game. We got an easy 7 because they tried the onside. We got the 15-yard penalty, and we got them on a trick play. So we got a touchdown, and we hadn't really done a lot. And then we were able to capitalize on some short field with failed fourth downs, which helped us. We had 9 had a big catch, long ball. And then the last drive, we rushed the ball pretty good. Sure didn't look like 41 points, did it? Didn't look like that to me either. We got to get better at running the football.
62 plays at halftime. Was that a big concern? I mean, over 100's.
Yeah.
It's still a big concern, but at 62 and a half, I have to think you're.
Remember Monday, I said they could have 100 plays in this game, and when you go for that many fourth downs, then you're going to run that total up, especially as fast as they play. You're going to get into that number. You know, there's pros and cons. You know, you keep the drive alive, but sometimes, you know, if it doesn't work, you give up good field position. But one thing that can happen is you can run up a bunch of plays because you keep possession, and they, you know, they play really fast like we do. They play faster than we do.
A good opening second half drive was, I mean, I think you guys had maybe 10 or 12 plays to open the second half. Do you feel like that was important maybe to slow down some of the
I think we got a three-pointer on that one, right?
Yeah.
We should have been better. We got the ball down, and we didn't execute down in there. We ended up getting 3 points, but, you know, then they countered us. They came back and got a 7 on us. So that wasn't quite as fun. But then we were able to really adjust and make some good plays defensively from that point moving forward.
You guys kicked 4 field goals today. With a team that's going for it on fourth down, seemingly every chance they get, can that be difficult to say, hey, we're just going to take the points and move on?
Not for me. I mean, I'm not a big fourth down guy. I've got to have a good reason for it. I'm not saying they're wrong. Everybody's got their own way of playing the game, but I have to have a good reason for doing it, and I feel like I have an advantage in doing it because we have a really good punter. So we pooched twice in the second half, and I think we downed him on the 4 when he got the targeting. So that's twice in 2 weeks that we've downed him inside the 5 and got 2 safeties. I know we didn't get it, but you get the picture. And then the second time we did it, he downed him, I think, on the 9. And the percentage of the other team scoring, or even specifically a touchdown from that far in, is really low. It's like, I don't know, it's really low. Inside the 10, I think, is 12%. Inside the 5, I think, is like 6%. So we got to do it. I mean, that's what I do. I play percentages. You know, Tommy Lasorda. If the percentage I steal this base is good, I'm going to steal it. If it's not, I'm not going to steal the base.
Mason Cobb drifted in front of the throw on that pick. I assume that's exactly how you guys.
Yeah, Mason studies a lot of film. He's a student of the game. He's up here all the time studying route concepts, pattern concepts, and I have not spoken to him directly about it, but I'm going to guess that's what happened. He probably saw the development because he came backside. A little bit like Malcolm, right? Malcolm used to do that, come from the backside and sweep underneath. So I'm guessing something he saw on tape and had a good feel and came all the way back underneath. He ran well with the ball, and I think he played offense in high school some. I can't remember, but right before he went down, he got the ball loose out here, made me a little nervous. But he did run with the ball well.
I know it'd probably take film review to really know, but Cam Smith was on the field a lot more than you probably expected him to be today.
100%. Yeah, played pretty good. Like they hit the deep ball on him down here in the corner. He had good coverage. Guy just went up and took the ball. He had, that's what I told him in there. You got to grow up fast. Robert Allen asked me at halftime what needed to happen. I said, one, we had to rush the football better, and two, young guys playing defense got to grow up. It's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. If you think about percentages of plays they defended, it wasn't a 70-play game. It's 104 plays. We didn't really miss that many tackles. Okay? Now, I want eyes up. I don't want to miss any tackles. But we know that there's so many skill players in college football now, it's not easy to get them all down. But when you think about, they basically played another quarter of football today. So the fair way to coach is that we missed some, but when you think about them having an additional 35 plays, probably wasn't much different than what it has been the first 4 games.
Do you worry about the number of hits Spencer takes?
Number of what?
The number of hits that Spencer takes throughout the game?
Sure do. Sure do. I worry about him all the time. If I was him, I'd go straight home tonight and go to bed. I wouldn't pass go, wouldn't look at any pretty girls, wouldn't collect 200 and go NIL 200 or whatever and go home. It's a tough game, man. He's at the one position you can't defend yourself. You get hit, you can't defend yourself. Tough job.
Coach, last week, Alex Hale was doing some kickoffs. This week it was Logan Ward. I'm just curious, what was the decision behind that?
Logan, Alex has been a really good field goal guy and did some kick, but he hadn't got as much distance with what Logan has given us a little bit more distance, so we let him kick. He did a good job. He nubbed one out of bounds, but other than that, we thought he did a good job. You guys good? All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mike.